Hi, hello and welcome back to F1 Challenge VB. My name is Mephisto and our epic journey through the history of Formula 1 continues today with the 9th round of the 1963 season, the Mexican Grand Prix. It was held on the 27th of October, it had 25 entries, 21 of them took part in the race with 10 ending up retiring. The race consisted of 65 laps completed in 2 hours, 9 minutes and 52 seconds. Jim Clark started the race from pole with 30s in 2nd, Graham Hill 3rd, Gurney 4th, Ginther 5th and McLaren started from 6th. After a phenomenal drive, Jim Clark won the Mexican Grand Prix from Brabham, who finished 1 minute 41.1 seconds after Clark. Ginther crossed the line in 3rd, he was 1 minute 54.7 seconds behind. Graham Hill finished 4th, he was 1 lap down. Joe Bonnier ended up in 5th, he was 3 laps down. And rounding off the top 6 was Gurney, who was also 3 laps down. Clark was also the fastest man of the race, posting a lap time of 1 minute 58.1. Welcome to the fascinating Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, where a lap starts off with a very long run down into turn 1, a long open right-hander that gradually gets tighter. At the end of it we find turns 2 and 3, a slow right-left chicane. Next are turns 5 and 4. Turn 4 is a medium speed left-hander, while turn 5 is a slow tight right-hander. Turn 6 is next, a very tight right-hand hairpin. Be extremely careful with power application on corner exit. This is followed by turn 7, which starts a long chain of medium speed exits. Take your time through here, there's not much you can do except to be patient, at least until you reach turns 12 and 13, a set of wider chicane, allowing for a much higher speed. Lastly, we come into turn 14, a long banked right-hander that brings us around onto the main straight, and that is a lap around the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. And that is my poor attempt to pronouncing stuff in Spanish. And here we are in qualifying, where we've just started our flying lap, coming towards turn 1 here, where I suddenly yank the steering wheel a bit too suddenly, I guess, and suddenly I yanked the steering wheel too suddenly. Anyway, I yanked the steering wheel to the right a bit too abruptly, and that caused the car to lose traction. It started spinning. I hit the barrier, my engine, I lost the engine, and that's pretty much it for qualifying. Anyway, we see Jim Clark on pole with Graham Hill in 2nd, John Surtees in 3rd, 4th, Richie Ginther 5th, Bruce McLaren and Tony Maggs rounding off the top 6. Innes Ireland is 7th, followed by Jack Brabham in 8th, 9th is Ludovico Scarfiotti, followed by Lorenzo Bandini in 10th, 11th is Giancarlo Baghetti, Gerhard Metter 12th, 13th is Dan Gurney, 14th Joe Bonnier, Hap Sharp is 15th, 16th is Jim Hall, followed by Karel Godin de Beaufort in 17th, and Chris Amon in 18th. Phil Hill is 19th, Joe Stifford 20th, 21st is Tony September, followed by Maurice Tintignan in 22nd, and bringing up the rear we have Maston Gregory and Andy Higgs. So that is the grid lineup for this very first Mexican Grand Prix. Obviously we didn't see the previous winners because, well, there weren't any. This is the first time the Mexican Grand Prix has been held as part of the World Championship, and we are off to a relatively good start. I managed to pass a couple of cars, however I get bogged down by Sifford there in front of me, so I pull out, and then Tony September loses control of his car, then brakes hard in front of me, catching me completely off guard. After that, Tony September loses control of his car, but we are up in 20th already, and we are charging down towards turn 1 here, and we skip a little bit further ahead where a couple of cars lost control. We move up into 17th, actually even into 16th, as we see a bunch of cars at the side of the road losing control. So we are now chasing after Karel Godin de Beaufort. Hopefully we'll catch him soon, as we take another look at the replay here. Once again, a pretty good launch, initial launch for Andy. Managed to gain a couple of positions, and then people started losing control left and right. I'm not quite sure how that works. This is a straight piece of road that shouldn't be that hard to control the car, but apparently the AI does have problems controlling the car on straight bits of road. Anyway, we see a replay of Maurice Tintignan here coming into turn 1. He pulls to the right there, then crashes into one of the BRPs, ends up at the center of the road and decides to retire. Then we have a Look at Tony September coming into turn 1 as well, who keeps sliding all over the place, loses control of his car, hits the armco, spins around, and that's his race over as well. This is Innes Ireland in the BRP, and it looks like he's doing well. Then one of the Ferraris touches him, he loses control and ends up at the side of the road and out of the Mexican Grand Prix, as well as we take a look at Richie Ginter coming through turn 1 here. He loses control of his car. Actually, his suspension broke, so he ends up at the side of the road and also out of the race. Next we see Maston Gregory trying to overtake me here, coming through this left-hander. We touch wheels, he loses control of his car, ends up at the side and out of the Grand Prix as well. Next we have John Surtees chasing one of the Coopers through this right-hander. His engine starts smoking and obviously that's the end of his race. Next we have Hap Sharp, who loses his brakes coming into that right-hander, and well, he also retired from the Mexican Grand Prix. As we move on to lap 2 here, and we just passed Gerhard Mitter, who was very slow on that straight. Not quite sure why he would go that slowly, but regardless we move up into 12th place. Hopefully we can catch up to Joe Siffert, who is about 7.5 seconds up the road at this point. And here's a replay of Jim Hall, who is trying to take over one of the Equipe Marsbergen Porsches there. He loses control of his car. He's all over the place trying to regain control of his car. Ends up sideways and he pretty much gives up at that point. As we now catch up to Ludovico Scarfiotti on lap 2, I make a move on the inside there. He left a lot of space. I had no qualms about making use of that space. I mean, you could fit a bus through there. So we move up into 12th. Then a little bit later on, Scarfiotti managed to catch back up to us, and I tried to keep close to him through these S's, hoping that I could somehow catch up to him and pass him. However, that didn't really work. Although coming into turn 13 here, I almost managed to catch him. However, that didn't work. Then he pulls away, and better luck next time. Hopefully I'll be, or rather Andy will have the opportunity to catch back up, and he does it indeed on lap 13 here. We put the car on the inside and through turn 12 there, and we are up in 12th once again, chasing after Joe Siffert once again. So that was a pretty nice overtaking maneuver, if I do say so myself. Later on, towards the end of lap 4, we catch up to Siffert on this final corner here, go on the outside and overtake Siffert very easily, and we're up in 10th as we take a look at a replay of Bruce McLaren coming around to set the fastest lap at the end of lap 4, sorry. So congratulations to McLaren there, as we have a replay of Graham Hill as well, who is going to retire, I believe. Yes, he loses control of his car. Apparently he had a broken suspension, so that's why he kind of lost control there wildly and ended up at the side of the road. Unfortunate for him. As we move on to lap 5 now, I've just caught up to Chris Amon and about to take him on the outside there through that sorry, my mind doesn't work anymore. Anyway, Jack Brabham has retired from the race, and here is a replay of him coming into the slow hairpin there, trying to overtake one of the Ferraris. I believe it's in front of him. He loses control through turn 7 there, ends up at the side of the road, and he is out of the Mexican Grand Prix as well. As we now move on to lap 7, chasing after Dan Gurney, who is about 6 seconds up the road. We're slowly catching up to him, but it will still be a little bit of time before we get anywhere near him, as I make a complete mess out of that set of corners there, 4 and 5, especially 5. But at least we still have a car, as we take a look at a replay of Joe Siffert, who ends up retiring from the race as well. I can't really say what's happening because my monitor went blank. Well, the screen went blank, not my monitor, for some reason. Anyway, now we have a replay of Lorenzo Bandini coming out of that right-hander, chasing after, I believe that's Joe Bonnier, and he loses control of his car. He gets collected by one of the ATSs, then by a Cooper. He loses his front left and he is out of the Grand Prix. And here is a replay of Phil Hill coming into the pits to retire due to a gearbox failure, so he is out of the race. And we also have a replay of Bruce McLaren in the number 9 coming out of that right-hander, and we see a bunch of cars kind of losing control, and he crashes into that Ferrari and he loses his front left as well, and well, he is out of the race. We now move on to lap 9, and we've just overtaken Jim Clark, so we move up into 4th position. That's quite good for Andy, and something happened there. I'm not quite sure what I hit, but I almost lost control. Thankfully I didn't, so that's good. As we now move towards the end of lap 11, and Tony Maggs is out of the Mexican Grand Prix. Hopefully we'll have a replay. I'm not quite sure what happened. Yes, indeed, we have a replay. Here we see Tony Maggs in the number 10 Cooper. There's smoke coming out of the back of his car. There we have it. I'm guessing he'll pull to the side shortly. No, he's actually still trying to go. Nope, he's now slowing down, pulls to the side, and he is out of the Grand Prix. I guess he was trying to see how far he could stretch that car. Anyway, we now move on to lap 15, coming through this hairpin, going quite fast through there. I almost thought I would crash. Anyway, we're chasing after Giancarlo Baghetti, and we have a replay of Ludovico Scarfiotti, who loses his brakes as he's heading towards the hairpin. Not a good point to have a brake malfunction. He loses control of his car and ends up at the side there, so he is out. As we move on to lap 17, we see Baghetti right in front of us. He has smoke coming out of his engine. I put the car on the outside through the hairpin, easily overtake him, and we are now up in 2nd place, which is absolutely fantastic. And I'm sure that Baghetti is going to retire shortly. I'm pretty sure his car is not going to hold up for much longer as I try to pull away from him. And indeed, Baghetti does in fact retire. We see a replay of him right now coming through these S's, trying to catch up, but obviously his engine had enough. He pulls to the side and he is out of the race, as well as we now try to catch up to Bonnier, although I'm pretty sure I won't be able to. He is over a minute away in front of us, and there are not many laps left in the race, so I think 2nd place is going to be the best we can hope for today. As we now move on to the final lap, lap 22, coming up on a back marker there, and Joe Bonnier crosses the line to win the Mexican Grand Prix. Congratulations to Joe Bonnier. Fantastic race for him, and obviously will come home to finish in 2nd eventually, just as we finish this lap. And here is a replay of Joe Bonnier coming out of the final corner to win the Mexican Grand Prix. Once again, congratulations. Very well done. He was very fast, so yeah. As we ourselves come out of the final corner there to finish the race in 2nd position. Congratulations to Andy. And here are the race results. Dan Gurney finished 3rd, Clark 4th, Eamon 5th, and I didn't catch who was in 6th. Here are the retirements. Pretty much everyone else, only 6 people finished the race, so that's, I believe, 18 retirements if my math is correct. But that was the Mexican Grand Prix. Overall, a pretty good result for Andy, I would say. Second place should be quite good enough to, if not keep him in the lead of the championship, but put him quite close to the top. But anyway, here are the career statistics, and this was Andy's 120th Grand Prix. His best start is from first, has 8 pole positions, has set 17 fastest laps. His best finishes in first, has completed 78 races, 62 of them in the points, has won 36 Grand Prix, 4 at the Indianapolis 500, 6 in Monaco, has 7 championships under his belt, has scored a total of 421 points, has retired 42 times, has experienced 2,605 out of 3,218 laps, has 6 bronze trophies, 13 silver trophies, 36 gold trophies, and as an extension 36 podiums. And here is a quick look at the championship standings. Andy Higgs still leading the championship with 33 points from Gurney, who is in second, Phil Hill and Bonnier fighting for third, Surtees and Mags fighting for 5th. The last person to score points is Graham Hill down in 20th, and Tony September at the bottom of the driver standings in 24th. But anyway, those are the driver standings. Let's take a look at the constructors now. And Lotus move into the lead of the constructors championship with Brabham in second, Automobili Turismo Esport and RRC Walker Racing Team fighting for third, Cooper Car Company are 5th, and British Racing Partnership are 6th. The last team to score points are Tim Parnell Racing down in 13th, and Scirocco Powell Racing are at the bottom of the constructor standings and are yet to score a single point this season, although I'm pretty sure they don't have any time unless they pull something spectacular at the final race, which is the South African Grand Prix once again at the East London circuit. So looking forward to that. But that was the Mexican Grand Prix. Once again, a very good result for Andy Higgs and for Team Lotus. So that puts them in a pretty strong position here to win the title. However, Andy will have to be very careful, because if Dan Gurney finishes in a strong position, Andy could still lose the title. And same goes for the Constructors Championship as well. If Dan Gurney finishes well, Brabham could take the Constructors title as well. So this is going to be quite an important race for both Andy and Gurney and Team Lotus and Brabham. I'm not sure what to expect. However, I can say that I would really like to see Andy winning his 8th world title. That would be quite fantastic. Whether or not that will be the case remains to be seen. But that is the end of this video. I'm kind of rambling and my commentary was all over the place. I'm sorry about that, but I'm a teeny tiny bit tired. Haven't had too much sleep, or rather haven't slept very well last night, so can't really help that, I guess. So yeah, that is the end of this video. Don't forget to vote for next season's team. Link is in the description. I also have a second channel where I will be playing all sorts of different games. At the moment, I'm doing a playthrough of Homefront and the Red Solstice. So if you're interested in any of those games and more, there will be a link in the description to my second channel as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, stay sharp.